How's it going, buddy?
I'm all right, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so jet lagged, Neil. I don't want to lie to you. I am so jet lagged.
Yeah, it'll probably be a bit of everything, mate. I mean, you'll be jet lagged, you'll be bloody. I mean, when you've been through something like that, you'll have been just working at trying to retain all that information about boxing and the whole.
Neil, I can't see you. Where's your video?
Why can't you see me? Let's have a look.
Yeah, turn that video on. There we go. That's what I'm waiting for. Yeah.
There it is. You see, technical wizard. You see.
There we go. That's it. All right. Hey, big weekend coming up, eh?
Mate, the biggest of weekends for this calendar year, as far as I'm concerned, and praying it goes off without a hitch. You know, there's been so much, so many complications, so many complexities on the lead up to this, mate. All I want now is just to get guys on the arm wrestling table. I just want to see them get on the table, see the matches progress, and I'll be a happy man. You know,
incredible. Yeah, we're recording. Yeah, yeah. Jody's just about to have a workout. She was gonna work out here, but yeah, she's gonna go somewhere else, so she doesn't bug us. Yeah. When was the last time you did an Armwars show?
I want to say it was somewhere around 2017, 18, somewhere around there. So, yeah, a long time. I mean, the sort of step away from that was largely as a result of me getting deeply involved with the WAL.
Yeah.
I'd been involved with WAL for a couple of years at that point. I did 2014, 15, 16 season. Yep. And then we did the Seni Combat Sports Show. You know, I think it was 2017, mate. I think it was 17 at the Seni, the last time the Seni Combat Sports Show went. And that was the last one we did, yeah.
Yeah, and then you came for the rebirth. Yeah.
Yes.
When the rebirth happened, then you were in full steam. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And here we are, next weekend.
Yes, it's back.
It got some really, really good stuff. And that's the main reason I wanted to talk to you just about all the matches. Mm-hmm. It is just 1 week away. Wanted to talk to you about some of them, get your insight, see where we think the odds are, because, of course, they're staking, right? People are throwing.
And some interesting stories being told in the staking. You know, people get their opinions of things. Don't necessarily agree with them all the time. I think there's a lot of, in any sport, I think popularity is king. And I think there's definite examples in certain areas of the card where we can really see that that's taken effect here, you know.
Yeah.
The results are going to tell the tale. And there's a lot, I understand the rationale that's being used in each individual instance, and we can talk through that.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of glaring oversights for me.
Yeah, there seems to be, you know, and I mean, the Armwars cards are notorious for being very close. It's so hard to make close matches. It really is.
Never more so than now, mate, actually.
Yeah.
Because the lack of, if you think about it, the lack of familiarity.
Yeah.
Made life very difficult this time. I mean, we're out of touch. I'm out of touch. I am out of touch with some of the guys that are here because your last body of evidence, your last body of work is quite a way down the tracks now. So there's much more of a risk factor, you know, and there's other things to consider. But I also have a couple of guys coming over to this card that I'm taking a flyer on. You know, John Thompson is probably the biggest one of those.
Thompson has sold more, I think, than anybody else on the entire card.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Thoroughly deserves it. I mean, the lad's ass off.
He is a hustler, man. Seriously.
Good on him. You know, and, you know, I picked your brains on it. I picked some of the other Canadian lads' brains on it, and the consensus seemed to be that his left arm is significant. He's got a solid arm. I'm excited to see that match. I think that's a serving aces kind of bout, you know, where both guys are going to try and finish early. They're both a little bit arm wrestling in a mirror to some extent in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, those two have been neck and neck the entire time. I think, let me check. Let me see where they're at. See if I can find them here. Bradford and Uncle John. There's so many on this card. It's a big card.
Yeah, solid. So, funnily enough, for an Armwars card, it's small, but the depth of talent on there and that is really, really good. I mean, some of my favorite arm wrestlers in the world are on this card.
Yeah.
And we're covering the weight classes, you know. We're covering the classes really, really good. If you look at that lightweight battleground,
yeah,
it's just absolutely an amazing lineup.
Yeah.
Of characters, of styles. Then you go in. Obviously, the main event match is something, as you know, I've wanted to make happen for so long.
Wow.
Yeah, that's an amazing.
Well, let's start with the lightweight battleground.
Sure.
Because we actually just today switched the stakes a little bit. So we had Giannis and Jeff Hale as win-loss, and Jeff was kind of stalling out, so we've made it a shutout stake.
Yeah, and that's a great example of what we were talking about earlier, where you've got one guy who is maintained his prominence within the sport, you know, in Giannis Amelins, and obviously Giannis' pedigree is utterly beyond question. He's a truly exceptional arm wrestler, magnificent technician, strong in all areas, though he's very selective. And when you look at those guys on paper, there is a channel, there is a route to victory for both men. But the fact that the sort of notoriety in recent years, actually, I would say certainly the last 2 years, because of Voice of Arm Wrestling and because of the fact that he's been prominent on there and the myth and legend that surrounds that and the boost by people like Engin Terzi and the Arm Wrestling Discussion Forum and things like that have boosted that. Giannis is very well known and he's an entity that's recognized. And I think a lot of people feel like Giannis was probably the champion elect. He was the guy that was going to get the shot for the hammer in the WAL.
Yep.
And deservedly so, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Whether or not you feel like he'd have won the hammer, whether you feel like it, you know, he was going to be next in line to take on Sam, and I'm sure after that Tony Kotowski.
Yeah.
However, he has losses on his record in the WLL against Jeff Hale. So his WL record, yeah, he's lost to Jeff in the WL main draw.
When did that happen?
I think it was 2014 regional.
Oh, was that in Las Vegas?
You know what? It could well have been, yes. But he got drilled pretty hard by Jeff. Now, the other factor here is that Jeff is probably, with the possible exception of Froda Hogeland, is probably the most familiar guy with this format of arm wrestling on the entire roster.
Yeah.
Jeff's at home, you know, so interesting, really.
Is there any change to the Armwars rules that we know?
No. I mean, you know, there's a lot of myth and legend whipped up around the rule systems. Armwars rules, the very essence of Armwars rules was not to sort of separate too far away from the founding father, the foundation rules of arm wrestling in WAF. That was the base. It's the structure. It provides the structure for Armwars rules. But there are elements within the WF rules which were conducive to moving fast through events to get rid of 1,900 arm wrestlers in a few days and allow referees to not die at the table out of exhaustion and mental fatigue. You're going to move those guys through. You know, you can't have everybody sort of setting up a certain way and using all the nuances, the tricks and so on. However, when you come to super match arm wrestling, that's to be encouraged. People want to see the character. They want to see the talk. They want to see all those elements that you're trying to iron out in the WF.
Yeah.
So with a tremendous amount of thought and evolution, it's got to be said, the rules evolved a great deal. We've come up with a set of criteria that definitely lend themselves to better matches. You know, the way I always used to, as you know, from the briefings previously when you've been on the cards yourself, the way I always used to try and liken it was, if you're in the WAF and it's amateur boxing, when you come to Armwars, you've just gone pro. The head guards come off, and if you get hit with an elbow, keep throwing punches until the referee stops it. It's a fight.
Neil, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a professional boxer.
Professional boxer, Devon.
So we're speaking the same language right now.
You go, mate. There you go.
So the main difference that separates it from WAF is the running fouls, the slip rule, and I guess the multiple rounds and the time structure.
Yeah, I mean, you've notable areas of difference from WAF. They are all in areas where I felt like that was really creating problems to make a show. So if you were trying to create a situation where you want people to be engaged, probably I would say the most notable variations to the WAF system are probably the fact that there isn't a slip in a losing position. So that's a polarizing rule. It's one of those rules where people will be like, well, a guy can dump. Now, within these rules, there are certain nuances. We got to a situation where that was evolved slightly into where a guy couldn't just literally dump the match off the start. And these are, when you get an experienced referee, the experienced referee can see what's going on. We had situations where a guy would just go off the start, would just go bang, and open their hand and just dump the match. You can't do that. You've got to make an attempt. How it's written is to make an attempt to compete, attempt to arm wrestle. Now, a simple way of sort of denoting that would be that there's got to be maybe a second where the hand remains closed on the start, so there is an engagement of power. Now, an experienced referee can see when that's happening. However, the letter of the law, there is no slip in a losing position. You either pin the guy or you don't. And I always feel like if you go into that rule system knowing that, if you go into the rule system knowing exactly what the situation.
Oh, I'm losing here. Uh-oh.
Now, just the same as WAF.
If you for a second.
Okay. Where did you lose me at, mate?
We're just talking about this. It's the same rule system. So basically, if the referee's really keen with the slip, but basically all slips go to straps. Basically,
yes, all slips go to straps. Another main difference would be that there is a nominated strap.
Yeah.
So, for example, where both arm wrestlers agree, I think you've done that with Mike once, haven't you?
I think the WAF has that now too.
Okay, so that's good. They've actually adopted, because when I used to argue that point, they thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, the nominated strap I think is a great thing because it actually saves time for them as well.
Absolutely.
You know, so why not if both men are happy to do it? The biggest one of them would be that there is the running foul has been misinterpreted. It's been sort of changed and bastardized by various setups. Effectively, the running foul rule in Armwars is for minor infringements where the referee believes that there's no real advantage gained. That's really what it's used for.
Yeah.
It's not for massive flyaway fouls. That's just a foul. It's a straight up foul.
Yeah.
It's not where there's an enormous advantage gained. But when it's used correctly, that unlocks, it unlocks arm wrestling, Devon. It unlocks the very essence of the sport.
Yeah.
The essence of arm wrestling is the battle.
You're not having stoppages quite as frequently as you might be used to.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
You also, there's other things you do. There's no dangerous positions.
Yeah.
So as far as we're concerned, you come over, you sign your disclaimer.
Yeah.
You're in Armwars, you should be a bloody good arm wrestler. If not, you've no right to be there. You shouldn't be there. You're out of your depth.
Yeah.
So if you come across there to compete, you do so at your own risk and you know exactly what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Another big one is that we do enforce the fact that a pin can only be taken on an athlete's A side or winning side of the table. An example of that would be if you've got a dead wrist presser, someone like Jerry Caderet, Lars Rabakan. Froda Hoagland. And the top roller busts out, takes hand control, and then as he feels that balance point shift on the presser, he just jumps on top of him and punches straight down into the center of the table. A lot of the WF matches, that will be called as a win. And I've seen that happen many times and contested it many times. Because if you're Jerry Cadorette, you're punching down already. So there's no bet, the top roller's not achieved anything. Yeah, Jerry's given you his hand. And then as you jump on top of him, your hand's on top because he's gone underneath you. You haven't pinned him. So you've got to move Jerry's arm over to the winning side of the table. And we enforce that. Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And again, I suppose a polarizing rule, isn't it? It's one of those things where, some people say, oh, my hand was on top. It's a win.
Tricky one. It's a tricky one.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. But I feel like we can easily observe that and explain that.
Yeah.
Max period of time that we have between rounds is a minute. So you got a minute between rounds.
That's the fastest of all the leagues. That's the fastest.
Yeah. Just to keep it, encourage that tiredness, fatigue, exhaustion. It makes it a little more brutal. Obviously the arm wrestler tosses for sides because side is important. So we toss for sides when the guys come up. They get the choice of side on the winner of the coin toss, unless it's nominated and both guys are happy.
Right.
And a maximum of 1 minute allowed for the arm wrestlers to find their grip, and that was something that evolved post something that happened involving you with Travis Pageant.
Oh, what a nightmare!
Yeah, disastrous situation. So we've evolved the scenario. We use the square in the air where it's possible. But it's a solid set of rules. It's a solid format, and most pullers that have been over there, seem to enjoy it. So should be good. And we got some good refs.
So Jeff, Giannis, Mindaugas, and Tom. So right now, like I say, we just reopened Giannis and Jeff. So that'll be fresh. So we'll see what happens, actually. I'm curious to see, because what I've noticed is that what goes on ArmBet and Stake Kings is very different than what goes on the Facebook and the YouTube polls. It's very
interesting.
Different. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like the whole popularity contest isn't really there quite so much. Not quite the same way. Like when it comes to people putting their money down, like it's not always popularity. Like some people who know, they will empty their wallets if they're sure. Like lots of occasions when guys are favorite, guys will just buy out the whole block. Boom. So, and we've seen that repeatedly. So we'll see what happens here, because I think that just got a whole lot closer. Because over the course of 6 mandatory rounds, that's just to get one in. That definitely changes it from a win-loss. Anyways, but Tom Holland to me is kind of the real mystery of the class. He's the youngest. He is. I mean, Mindaugas. How old is Mindaugas?
Mindaugas is only a puppy as well. He's only sort of mid-20s, I think. They're both pretty young guys. But they've both matured into the sport from a young age, and so they seem like they've been there forever. They've both really got wool on their back at this stage.
Yeah.
And the 4-way battleground thing, I think everybody perceives it at the moment that Giannis comes through Jeff relatively unscathed. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody believes that either Mindaugas or Tom come through unscathed, and that's probably something I'd agree with. And that's been done on purpose.
Very contrasting, right? Those two. Very contrasting.
Yeah, big time. And both, as men, they got a lot of similarities. Both are supremely confident in their own ability. I think I agree with everything you said on Tom. He's a dark horse. He's a complete savage. And the most interesting thing about Tom is that for a large period of his career where he's been a known entity, he's been competing heavily injured.
Yeah.
Heavily injured.
Yeah.
Now, this is the first time we're going to see him without that injury burden.
Mindaugas is sold out. Tom has got 411 left on him.
Yeah, I think Tom Holland is a very, very good bet. I think the whole home ground, home crowd thing, I do think matters. I do think it gives you a lift. And he's got a bit of a mental edge potentially on Mindaugas in some areas as well. The guys pull left and they started a lot of the sort of mental warfare. They started the battle, they started the mind games, and Tom came out on top. And however robust your psyche is, that'll chip away a little. That'll put a crack in the ceramic, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that Tom is a very, very good bet. Very good bet. He's rock strong.
Very interesting. I really like that 4-way. And the thing is, I mean, I'll be shocked. The only one that will really shock me is if Jeff comes through. If Jeff does it, I'll be so impressed. But anything's possible. I mean, we haven't seen Jeff in a long time. And if he's on his game, anything's possible.
Well, Chance Shaw was talking to me a couple of months ago, and he said he'd been down there. And this is when Chance was red hot, you know.
Yeah.
At that time, he said he went down, he trained with Jeff, and he said he couldn't believe how strong Jeff was. He said he's ridiculous. And he, at that time, told us that he believes Jeff's going to win the whole thing. We'll see.
Amazing. Well, what is it? Is it Friday or is it Thursday that it starts?
It's Friday, Saturday, the days of competition, and the lightweight battleground right hand is on the Friday. So that's the main draw of the Friday, really. That's what everybody's going to see.
1 week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be interesting.
Another guy who's probably right up there with Hellraiser in amount of matches is Froda.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
First name on the team sheet. You know, like the thing always with your football teams, and you got that guy that just right, put him down. Everybody else can fit around him.
Yeah.
For Armwars, that there were a few guys that fell into that role. Froda in the middleweight division is that guy.
Yeah.
Because he's the most entertaining arm wrestler maybe in the world right now.
And he's hot right now.
Yes. Yeah, he's looking. He's going to need to be. That's all I'm going to say, mate. He needs to. This is the one where I think people are missing something.
I think so too. Yeah, because I don't think a lot of people know about Stoica.
Yeah, Bogdan Stoica is, one is real. Let me tell you right now, dude can pull, really can pull. Yeah. I mean, he's explosive as hell. He's super well-rounded, fearless, gang of confidence, just will try anything. And that blistering pace advantage and the versatility, that makes him a problem. In a multi-round format of this style, if you've got the balls to use the arrows that you've got in the quiver, and he has, then you've a really good chance of getting one off. You know what I mean? He's going to put bullets into Froda big time. Froda's going to need to be on his game. It really is.
So you got Romanian national champion, moved to London, pulling with the London club.
Yeah,
he's had good success. What is the weight between these guys?
At this point in time, Stoica's having to come down in weight and will outweigh Froda by 3 to 4 kilos.
Okay.
That's where he's going to be. So it's like the 210 class, really. 209, 210 class. Froda's not that big. Froda's maybe 5'10", 5'11". And he's a middleweight. Stoica, Bogdan Stoica is a natural light heavy. Pretty big man.
Yeah. How tall is he?
About 6'1".
Okay.
There. Bigger man.
He's legit bigger than Froda.
Yeah, he's a bigger frame guy. He's just a bigger guy. And he's carrying, there's no, dude looks like an underwear model. Yeah. There's no fat. He's all, everything there is useful weight. And he's so quick. He's blisteringly quick, explosive as hell, and very, very brave. Here's a stat, right? This will get people thinking. So the last Armwars we did, match on there was between a guy I'd pulled just before, another fella from Romania called Stefan Tamas, super strong. real stayer, enormous inside strength. He pulled with Froda and decimated him. Beat Froda very comfortably. Just ran him over 6-0. Boring, actually. Now, Stoica Bogdan Stoica pulls him at Iron Arm. Has a war, beats Tamas.
Okay.
In a screamer.
Yeah.
Goes all over the place. Stand up, career-ending death war. You know, but wins. So
there's a lot of question marks there because right now Froda, I think, is sold out. He's sold out, and Stoica has a ton of space. So
yeah, get your money down on Bogdan. Bogdan Stoica.
Right, yeah, I was looking at that one. Maybe I'll be happy if that one actually doesn't fill.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, mate, because you got to look at that and you think Froda has the way, he finds a way.
Yeah, he does.
But you know, he's very, very familiar with the format.
Yeah,
he's got the best endurance I've ever seen from terrible positions. I mean, horrific positions. But if you're looking at this purely on paper, this is a very dangerous match for Froda.
What about Stoica's experience with the format?
Non-existent.
Oh, wow. So he hasn't done...
He's not pulled awards before.
Very interesting.
He's pulled in other one-on-ones, but he's never pulled wars before. So he doesn't know some of the elements there, but he's got everything that he needs. He's a very, very intelligent, very brave, extremely versatile arm wrestler. He's the kind of guy who you sort of know is going to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Very adaptive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's right there in London anyways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's at home.
Yeah.
He's going to have great support in the crowd. A lot of people know, you know, he's honorary Englishman. And it's a war, mate. And for me, this is a real pick 'em. You know, it's a like, holy, you know, on the day. It can go any way. I see clear routes for victory for both men. If I was giving odds, I would personally say that Stoica on paper is probably a slight favourite. If you look at the format, Froda is a slight favourite. Yeah. And I think it sees itself out. I think it balances out. But to say that Froda's like running away with this, crazy.
Yeah, well, he's running away with it on Stake Kings here. So it's interesting. I gotta skip ahead. I gotta skip ahead to the main event.
Oh,
yeah.
I love this match, mate.
Yeah, yeah. RVJ versus Sasho, East versus West, #1 spot with a pretty big significant stamp. Is there a weight category on this?
Yeah, they're coming in around 210 as well. So
210.
Yeah, that's slightly heavier. The interesting thing here is that despite the fact that the Worlds were going ahead in Georgia, when we mentioned that, I kind of thought that Sasho, because you know Sasho, right? You met Sasho. He's not.
I've actually never met Sasho, but obviously I follow him super close. Big fan of Sasho.
Yeah, he is that squat, wide as a door dude.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And I figured because of the height thing, he'd be like, well, no, I can make Rob push hard here and try and get it to 200 pounds or whatever below, which Rob was, you know, he was happy to do.
Yeah.
But he said 210, and he was like, yeah, that's better. It's good.
It's better.
Yeah, he's happy with that. So he obviously feels matured at that weight. He feels like he's good there. I think there are so many potential connotations to this match. It's off the charts. Really interesting one is going to be Bozodar. Bozodar is already winding up RVJ.
Yeah, he is.
Winding him up.
Yeah.
They're both coming on the fix on Sunday night.
Oh.
And I know for a fact Bozodar's plan is to piss him off some more, to wind him up some more.
He's good
now,
at that.
That's interesting. Oh, yeah, he's good. He's a troll.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that can backfire on your ass, because if for me, if Rob Bridget Jr. gets pissed off to the point where he is more pissed off than he's concerned about losing, that's a very dangerous individual right there.
Yeah, some people, it's good to piss him off. Other people, not so good. Yeah, I think Rob is definitely of that type that you probably want to keep him chill. He's probably a bit better that way, but it's going to make the match more interesting. The lead up to it is I've been a little bit all over the place depending on what time of day it is. You know, I've been flip flopping a little bit, but a lot of questions will be answered. And I feel a bit bad. Like, I mean, a lot of Europe has been winning these big East versus West matchups. So, I mean, this is another big opportunity where East meets West, you know, and I don't know, is East going to continue to pull glory into Europe, or is Rob going to be able to, you know, bring some back to the new world? I mean, I don't know.
Interesting, this one, mate, because Rob Bridget Jr. has really impressed me with this. The manner in which he's handled surprised me a bit, maybe, but he's really, really impressed me. His absolute willingness to go for this was really refreshing, because I know that Rob's had a lot of doubters and abuse, people saying, he don't want to step out his comfort zone and pull any of the big Eastern Europeans. There was an appetite, there was a hunger from Rob Bridget Jr. in this situation. And, you know, the reality of the situation is that both men were in, both men were committed, and I believe both men really wanted to do it. Then, from no fault of Sasho's, he couldn't get the vaccine. He's a very young guy, couldn't get access to the vaccine.
Yeah.
To the point where he was like, can I come to England and get it? Oh, you can't, mate, because obviously they're not going to let you in the country. So that's not a solution. He said, well, I can't get it. I'm kind of screwed. What can I do? And so I rung Rob and I said, mate, we can't do it. And he's like, oh, you are joking. No, I can't do it, mate. That's it. And for a period of like 2 months, the match wasn't on.
Yeah.
So Rob's doing Rob. He's just, the family thing, the whole. Sasho comes back on and says, oh, Neil, you're not going to believe it. Rates have gone like crazy in Bulgaria. We get access to the vaccine now. I can get it. Can we still do the match? I'm going to be honest with you now. I thought, no chance. Honestly, I thought, no way he's going to. Because we're like 4 weeks out or so, 5 weeks out. I thought, no chance Rob's going to agree to this.
Yeah.
And I rung up Rob and I'm like, Rob, are you sat down? Get this out. And I said to him, we can do it. He can get the vaccine. And I thought Rob would be like, nah, mate, bloody hell, I've stepped off. I've done nothing. And Rob said, you know what? Let's go. He said, I want to know. He said, I just want to know. And he said, look, if I come over there, if I can come over there and test myself against the absolute, what I see as the pinnacle or that level, I get a feel for it. I know. Let's go. Let's get it done. And I thought, good for you, Rob Bridget. Because he is at a disadvantage because Sasho, training for Worlds and so on. But you never know at the bottom of you how much of a difference that makes. Sometimes you rest and you come in and you rock strong. I don't know.
A lot of factors. And I mean, the little bits that I've seen from Rob, he does look really good. Like when he arm wrestled Mike, he looked fantastic. I don't know if you watched that.
I did, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rob, we both have pulled with Rob enough and not when Rob's firing, he's a special individual. He's got real talent, like God-given.
I would like to say that this is probably the biggest match of his career.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the biggest middleweight matches I've ever seen in 30 years.
I think
this is weirdo fest.
Yeah, this is a huge match. It doesn't get any better than Sasho from the East, and it doesn't get any better than Rob from the only guy who's like questionable, who is Hadzi and Hutchings, and maybe if he can diet down still, John Brzenk. but like it's a very short list of names that is even in the question after those two. Like, and for me, like the winner of this has got a significant claim to that world #1 spot, and come and get it. That's the way I see it. This is, to me, this is the #1 world middleweight match right there. Yeah.
Now, the other thing that's a factor for me is the last time Rob pulled Armwars in high stakes Vegas, he was in a very similar situation. And again, the dude did come off the couch.
Yeah.
He literally came off the couch, and he was pulling one of the very best arm wrestlers ever to do it.
Yeah.
Marcio Barboza. I mean, show me someone more complete than that, mother. I mean, Marcio is arm wrestling. He's just,
you
cannot say enough good about that man. He's iron, has been iron for 25, 30 years. He's a friggin' beast. He's beaten the who's who. He's mega.
Yeah.
So Marcio's not at his absolute peak, but he's decent. He's never bad, Marcio. He's good and he's excellent. That's Marcio.
Yeah.
So both men come in with a little doubt. Marcio does, Rob does. Rob can't lose weight. Marcio's not at his biggest, but he's, probably 225, 230, somewhere that around there.
Yeah.
They come in, and it turns out to be one of my favorite matches ever.
Yeah, mine too.
What an absolute friggin'.
Yeah.
Now, Rob was getting run over, 3-0. Run over. And then got pissed off. Somebody shouted something at him from the crowd, and it pissed him off. He got angry. And that was it.
That seems to be common for Rob, is that it takes him a couple rounds to warm up. Like watching Rob, he normally is not his best round one. Normally it takes him, you got to get punched. He's got to get woke up, and then he kind of lets go of everything and starts swinging. And that's when the magic happens. But he got a tough obstacle here. This is the big one for me. What a great main event. And that's on Saturday, right?
It's on Saturday, mate. Yeah, it's the main event Saturday. It's going to go at like 3 p.m., on Saturday.
And it's live, right? Like, we can watch it.
Yes, I'm going to try. You'd definitely be able to watch it anyway. And, don't waste your time going to watch anybody from the bloody crowd on the goddamn mobile. What I can say to you, I will promise you, the footage of these matches will be out really quick, and it'll be out quality. You'll be getting the view that I'm getting. So I'm going to be stood 2 feet from the table. And if I have to film it, on the GoPro, right friggin' there, I am going to literally get solid footage of this thing. We're going to try to put it live. The guys at the NEC told me I'm crazy. They said, there's no way your live stream will work. You're wasting your time. It'll just be shit.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'll film it and record it and put it out an hour after the match, whatever I need to do. But all of them are scheduled. They're all on there. We will be going live with every match. We're going to give it a shot. If that works, great. If not, we'll put something out like an hour and a half after with quality footage of it. So you'll see it. You'll see it really good.
I'm so excited. Seriously, I'm so excited.
Amazing.
Well,
I can't wait for that one.
Should we move on to the next most exciting? Well, there's so many good matches on this card, but I like these guys. I feel like they're nipping at the heels of the two guys that we spoke about, Bozodar and Vlad. Yeah. Bozodar is a smart, funny guy.
Mate, he
is on fire, that guy. Like, I didn't know he was so quick.
Boji's ace.
Yeah.
I call him Superstar Bozodar Simon.
Yeah.
And I do it for a reason, because that is a superstar. He is an incredible arm wrestler. Incredible arm wrestler. You know?
Yeah.
You got David, you got Hamza from Turkey, you got him, you got this crazy 80-kilo talent pool. I believe he's right at the top of it. I think he's an exceptional, masterful arm wrestler. Magnificent for his age. And he's going to get better. He's everything I love about arm wrestling is encapsulated into that man. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I really like the way he pulled Tony. Yeah, he really did a number on Tony.
And Tony's no bum.
No, yeah, Tony's amazing. And but I feel like the way he beat Tony is he just played it so well. Like every step, everything just slowly got worse and worse and worse. There were no mistakes. It's just, and it wasn't like Tony was way worse. Like Tony, I feel like he was in the match, but just he never ever he had a small advantage at the beginning, and by the end it was massive.
You're looking in Boji, you are looking at someone with every single aspect of the sport just covered off. He's got it down. His ability to control the pronation, the supination, the cut, the combination of those, the timing is so good. Roundedness, his ability to keep shape under extreme pressure. I mean, I've seen him, pull all kinds of guys, being tested in significant areas, being tested in deep hook matches, being tested by tall top rollers, you name it. His ability to keep his integrity positionally is amazing. He's like a reflection of probably his key instructor in Svetan Gashevsky. And it's like the second coming Mark II. You know what I mean? He's got so much potential. I see him. He surpasses Gashevsky, and I think he reflects all those qualities. He's exceptional, mate.
It's great to see. All right, Bulgaria. What's up with Bulgaria? Why are they so strong in Bulgaria?
Svetan Gashevsky and Krasi are responsible for a lot of that. They've turned, both two excellent arm wrestlers, very articulate, great instructors, passionate about what they do, and it's created a hub of excellence. And they've got a cultural approach to arm wrestling and to strength sports generally and combat sports generally. Look at their wrestling, look at their weightlifting. They're good people. The Bulgarians are ace. Yeah. It's a great place to go. You ever go over there, you're treated like a king. They'll just come out you go to a bar and they'll come out and pull. It's a bit like Turkey in that respect. Everybody just loves arm wrestling. You can go out, you have a couple of beers, and next thing you know, you're frigging pulling 20 guys, and they can all pull. Yeah. It's like, let's go.
I gotta go. I gotta go there.
It's awesome.
But his opponent is super frightening also. I mean,
lethally dangerous. Sniper.
That's a highlight reel. I mean, every time I watch Vlad's highlights, it seems like everywhere he goes, he destroys people. It's not like a clinical breakdown. It's like he's just way above everybody. He's just, I don't know. People talk about his thumb for some reason. Like I keep hearing about his thumb.
His style and the way he's got such a squat forearm, and his pronation is venom. He puts it to people in a way, I think you hit the nail on the head a moment ago, where he's like, you're genuinely concerned about your physical well-being. You know what I mean? He hits you with such ferocity that it is concerning.
Yeah.
Now, 6 rounds of that, pounding into somebody that hard, there's some damage to be done. This is a risky match. And as I understand it, he's coming into this slightly bigger. He was prepping hard for the Worlds again.
Yeah.
Guy's in great form. He's ready. This is a very, very, very finely balanced. And speaking to Bozodar himself, he is concerned about this one. He's like, serious.
Well, they've flopped. So Vlad is leading, I believe, in the left, and Bozodar is leading in the right. So
they've gone with the form guard at the moment. Everybody's gone with they've all been watching listening to Engin's predictions, listening to what Coach Ray said in the past about their history. And it leads you down this same garden path. And if you want to follow those breadcrumbs, you come to that conclusion. I'm not sure we're going to see that. History doesn't always repeat itself. I mean, we saw, yourself and Michael Todd have had an evolution in your matches, and things can change. When a guy's committed enough, focused enough, and evolving enough, things can change. We'll see. This is a very exciting match. 2 of the the very best in the world at that weight.
And that one's on Saturday?
They go on Saturday, both arms.
Incredible. Man, oh man, it is going to be a good. Now I just have to figure out what pizza I'm going to order.
There you go, dude.
Yeah,
you gotta get that serious stuff taken care of. It's got to be done.
So the next one, huge question mark: SB and Credecha. I think that opinions are all over the place on this one. Ryan has been it's one of these ones where we haven't seen these guys really in a bit. It's been a while. And SB's been good for a long time.
Oh,
long time.
Such an underrated arm wrestler, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such an underrated arm wrestler, you know. Obviously got that notoriety and pedigree on his left arm at world level, but also been there or thereabouts on the right.
Yeah.
For so many years. What was really interesting to me this time around is both men are supremely confident of winning both arms.
Yeah.
I mean,
when it's like that.
Oh yeah. They're both like, wait till this guy finds out what he's up against. Oh, they're like, when they're speaking to you privately, they're like, oh, this dude's in trouble. Both men feel like that. No, I've never heard Ryan speak like that before.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, hey, I mean, I think he's been working in his dungeon, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, how long has Alex been arm wrestling? Like 7? Is he on his 6th year?
Thereabouts, yeah. I mean, he rose through the ranks really quickly because of his physicality and his explosivity. This is such a big man, but again, not in the same way that we see from Vlad the Destroyer, but he's got that same, you know, Vladislav's got that clinical nature about him. This guy's just like a trailer full of fucking TNT, and you know that when it blows up, somebody's getting fucking killed. And it's literally like that. It's just his size and his mass and his pace and his just anger when he hits scares people.
I feel like they're very similar.
Yeah.
They're both big, strong dudes with a lot of explosive capability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in this instance,
Ryan's leading on the left, and Credecha is leading on the right. But, you know.
Now, interestingly, again, little behind the scenes for you. When this thing first came about and we were talking about Arm Wars and the involvement in Arm Wars, Credecha contacted me. Alex is like, can you get me a match on the left? Because he's really confident on the left. And I'm like, really? Yeah, I want, you know, oh, you don't know what's coming. Man's revved, ready. So
incredible. How old is he now?
Oh my God, he's only a puppy. 20, I bet he's like late 20s, 27, 20, somewhere around there. He's not old.
He's big dude. He is.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's a bunk bed collapser. There's no doubt about that. He really is. Yeah. He's a big individual, big friendly bastard.
Yeah, but hair too.
Yeah. But I tell you what, we've talked a lot about the guys who've got massive potential in this sport.
Yeah.
I always feel like he's one that's overlooked. He's one where if you got someone like a Engin or a Svetan or somebody who's obsessed with technical form and correctness, and you could drill it into a man with that kind of physical advantage.
Yeah.
What a weapon. What an absolute weapon that guy would be, you know. He really would. I can't
help but think that one of them is going to gas out. I can't help but think that. Because if the strength is close, I don't think either one of them, from what I've seen, is a real, like, well, actually, I feel like Alex has had longer matches. Ryan normally.
You think that Ryan could sell a match to get into a dogfight just to make it ugly? You know, get into if he can turn it into it, because usually they're both looking for the top roll. Both these guys are looking for that top roll.
Yeah.
And I do wonder whether you could, you know, take that slightly lower grip just to make it get to the strap, take a slightly lower grip just to make it a little more interesting. But I tell you, the other day, mate, Ryan rang me up and he said, I'll tell you what, Neil, if Alex beats me, he deserves to. He said, because I'll tell you right now, I am so ready. He said, I've been trained. He said, the guys that have trained with me for many years have told me en masse that they've never felt me anything like this before.
I love it. Hey,
so,
have you ever heard me say that before a match?
Hey, you've said a lot of things to me that have been interesting. You know, my favorite Devon Larratt line was my favorite ever, which at the time just made me think, oh, that's why I love this guy. That's why I've invested so much time and energy into him. Because John Brezink, we picked him up at the airport.
Yeah.
And you had that, like, you know, just friendly handshake and so on. And when we were going to the car, you just went, just wait till tomorrow. Just watch this.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Yeah.
And that match, you dominated not much earlier against Ron in a fashion that was, I mean, most people haven't seen that.
Yeah, I heard you got that now. I heard you're going to release that.
There's always a time, mate. There's the right time. But yes, yeah, we'll be putting that out there. But that was the most dominant performance against Ron Bath I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I remember he jumped into the crowd and come over to me and said, might as well get up there and pull myself because I can't.
Yeah.
Remember that? Jumped off the stage.
But we had, you know, even though I like remembering back, I feel like we had a really good like round 5 or something. One of the matches was really good. Like I know I blasted him like the first few, but I feel like Ron he figured something out like later on, like around like round 5 or something. And we actually
I think if you got Ron on here now,
and
asked him that question, he'd say, yeah, because Devon fed me rope big time.
No, I don't think that's true. I mean, I'd have to see it again, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I've seen it relatively recently, and I figure that I'm gonna.
Okay, well, maybe I was being nice. I don't know, but
yeah, around about that time, I would like to see that guy pull the guy that was in Dubai. That's what I'd like.
Yeah,
to see.
Well, it's interesting because I think about that as well. There's a lot, as you know, to be said for original parts. You know, a lot to be said for original parts. I think back then I was quicker. I was healthier. I was more fluid.
Extremely fluid. The night in the hotel.
Yeah.
You were like, oh my God, that was stupid.
Yeah.
That was a ridiculous display of endurance, and that was ridiculous.
It was you who beat me in the end.
Yeah, but only after about friggin' literally, I'd had six or seven dues before that, if not more, and got my ass handed to me every time. And you'd pulled everyone 8-9 times or more. And we're talking Brezink, Michael, Marcio, Johan Lindholm, Kokera, myself, Sherba, Andy Barker.
There's a lot to be said for the first ascent. You know, you know, in the beginning of your career, when you never ever take a step back, when every time it's forward, 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 and eventually you get to some kind of a summit. And, you know, John, that day was my first summit. I feel like I got to the top of something, you know, and at that point there was basically nowhere left to climb, really. It's like I was kind of setting the pace. It changes things a little bit, but I do believe that that was a pretty special me just a few months ago.
You know what? It's hard, isn't it? Because there's always a number of factors. It was similar to what we've just seen with Dave and Levan. If you have the necessary components to dismember the guy you're pulling, you can look incredible.
It's tough.
I would like to see that version pull Levan and see if you could work through, have the ability to utilize the full spectrum of technique. If things started to go a little sideways and it wasn't going your way, I think that would, why I love that match is because I think we'd see Levan have to use much more of what he does have. And I believe he does have a lot of technical range that he hasn't shown, you know. And I think he'd need it in that kind of scenario, because with the greatest of respect to Dave, he isn't a technically proficient, well-rounded, versatile arm wrestler. He just isn't. I love Dave, but he's not that guy. What he is a bulldozer, incredibly strong. Yeah. Now he was facing a bigger bulldozer who also has more explosivity and pace, but you've got to put different hurdles in there. You know, sometimes what you need to slow down a dragster is bumpy ground.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to make the ground a little bumpy and see what happens. And I don't know how well or how poorly Levan performs in that scenario, but I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what he's got.
The biggest challenges to an aging athlete is to make sure that you make a really good final product. Because like, I remember when it was like the 2008, like 2006 to like 2008, basically every day is a good day. Basically every day. There, you know, pretty much every practice, go anywhere, hit anything. And now, you know, a lot of times, you know, I'm kind of stuck in certain ranges. My wrist is blown up, my elbow's blown up, and it's about showing up everything healthy. But if you can get there, if you can have a perfect day, then you're a young man with more experience. You know, that's the goal. So
it's the one, mate. It's the match that everybody wants to see, and I think it's the match that you want, the Golden Fleece. It's the one where, you know, listen, when you're doing this, you everybody's got that thing. People talk about, oh, what's your motivation? What do you want to do it for? You've loved arm wrestling since you were a puppy, and you've been as committed as anyone that's ever done it. So just for that underlining, I mean, listen, you've just been boxing, right? And you talk so much about the boxing that it was an experience in life. It was a, you know, spiritual awakening of sorts, and an experience and something you'll treasure that extended yourself. I know this is in the same field. It's in your own field. It's in the field where it is your comfort zone, but it's down that same path, isn't it? It's like you may be arm wrestling the highest level that we've seen in the sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just to be in that match and to potentially make it a match, for me, without sort of oversimplifying things, I don't think there's necessarily a lose there for you. I think it's just frigging cool, and you've got the chance to win it. I think you've a good chance of winning it if you come in, as you just described, 100% healthy. I think you've got the range where you possibly can. But there's so many unknowns at the moment from Levan because he's just cracking people.
There's a lot of knowns. There's a lot of knowns from Levan.
We know he's criminally strong.
Yeah.
And he can arm wrestle. And for a man that big, he's got good mobility and good range, you know.
And I thought we'd already seen his peak in terms of size, but I believe that he looked the best he's ever been against Dave. That's what I thought. I thought he looked better against Dave than he did against Vitaly in the finals a year and a half ago or whatever.
Now take this how it's meant, right? But if he's in the film that we know he's looking at now, okay? Yeah. Here comes a test. Here comes the awakening. Because we've all been that guy that you wake up in the morning and all you think about is arm wrestling, and you're sure that for the next 10 years, all you're ever going to think about is arm wrestling, and then something happens.
Yeah.
And suddenly your head's turned a little bit, and it's like, oh, God, I never had this before. I never had the opportunity to do these things before, to hang out with these people, to do this kind of thing. That is a very, very, that's a crossroads. And I'll be interested to see because I think one of the big wins that Levan has is his work ethic, commitment, and dedication to the purest pursuit of excellence in arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Will he maintain that? Can he maintain that when other opportunities come along? I guess we'll find out. But it's another, for me, it's another point of serious consideration.
Yeah.
If he's just about to film for a few months and he's thrown into that like never before, yeah.
Certainly a test of a lot of things for him.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows exactly when it will be then. So potentially, from what I understand, the dates have been pushed. I don't know how solid this is, but I've heard he's filming from potentially December through to even as late as April.
Mm-hmm.
So, and really for me, that's fine. Like, I feel like I want to be very sure that this is the best that I've been. Like, I want to be sure that I'm even better in this match than I was against Michael. And I really have to set a lot of pieces right. Like, my base, like why I'm doing this, like my resolve when I finally go ahead and start the process has to be unbreakable. Like, and I'll tell you, I'm taking a small vacation. I've purposefully beat myself down. I've purposefully tried to make my life as worthless as possible, so that I can give it everything without a shred of overconfidence. Because I think it will take a lot of humility to execute with a full sense of purpose. You know, I think, and it will take duration as well. Like, I think for me, having a solid 6 months of dedicated preparation for the match will do me well. Yeah, I plan on, I mean, I'm starting to set the groundwork for it, but I plan on just arm wrestling a ton. Like, I don't plan on winning it in the weight room. I plan on being on that table basically as much as my body can handle. You know, I don't want to overtrain, but I don't think I'll probably even do a max lift between now and the event.
No.
I don't think I'll do a single one.
Well, you're not going to go in stronger than this, man.
No, I just have to be an incredibly good arm wrestler.
You got to be the boxer. He's always going to be the puncher.
Yeah,
and he's got some boxing skill, like you say. He's got some ability.
Well, hey, now we're back in my wheelhouse again.
That's where you live, right there, throwing them, ducking and wheezing.
See that head movement, Neil? You see that?
Mate, I wish you'd thrown that in on the night. Your head movement on the night was not the best thing.
This head movement is the way that Thor was hitting me.
Hey, I was proud of you, mate. You went out there with no notice at 46.
How can you say no?
Listen, you anybody that's got in a ring for real and knows what it's like, 3 weeks at 46. Yeah. You had a week, and then you were out at TriStar for 3 weeks, getting leathered, trying to get so you could, so you could breathe and just get through rounds.
Yeah.
Hey, no time to prep at all. Yeah. And it was funny because you went after him. Well, it lasted. I'll give you credit. You went after him.
I tried. You know, he's doing well, but I'm so excited about that match. And I think that was another reason why I took it, just because I'm so hyped to watch those two guys fight. I've been so excited. I'm just like waiting to buy my tickets so I can be in the front row. I mean,
hey, we're at that. We are at that, mate.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I am 100% when that match is not going down. I am in the front.
I want to MC it. I'm not going to lie. I want to MC it. I really do. I want to be involved in that.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'm there. That's, to me, that's the biggest for us. like for arm wrestlers, for strongmen, for power lifters, this is the biggest boxing match that's ever happened.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
And it's already got off again, hasn't it? It's already ignited immediately. The touch was lit. So
fucking bully. The bully thing is funny. Yeah. I heard end of March. I heard end of March in UK. That's what I heard.
Brilliant. If it's here in the UK, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Is there a venue been talked about, or
I don't know. I just heard, and I don't like. I mean, I'm not speaking for anybody. I heard some people saying that they thought it was going to be in the UK end of March. So I don't know if that's true, but wherever it is, I just want to know as soon as possible so I can block off that period. And wherever it is, I'll go and hang out and party for a week or two.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you were the last guy in there, so you know what it feels like. And Thor looked in incredible physical condition.
That's the thing that impresses me absolutely the most. Like, yeah, it's cool to watch him become a boxer, but it's hard for me to really evaluate his boxing. So just because I'm even though I am a boxer now, like a professional one.
To me, you and Roy Jones, and that's it.
Yeah, like it's basically the same thing. But I'm not one of those skilled boxers that knows actually what's going on. But the thing that's so impressive to me is how this 300 and whatever 30 or 35 pound guy he is now, how this giant that basically looks like he's a swimsuit model looking guy right now.
Oh God, he's ripped to the bone.
How that guy can move and breathe for rounds. Like that to me is the most impressive thing. How like the size of his engine and carburetor and working parts that are feeding this giant structure, that's working. Like his system is going fast.
He's got a lot of similarities there with Eddie. They're both
they're
both weirdos. We need to get back on with Eddie. I'm going to try and set it up with you and Eddie again and do a post-fight thing.
Yeah.
So that when Eddie and Thor have gone down, you can then fight Eddie.
Yeah, for sure.
He was like, "Are we going to fight after?"
Yeah, I mean, after that, I think I've had so many people calling me up trying to fight me now. Like, I used to think you were tough. Now I know that me and all my buddies can kick your ass next time I see you. I'm like, oh man, come on. Like now, I'm like, all part of the plan. All part of the plan. It's never over, Neil. It's never over. Hey, if I'm willing to commit to a fight in 5 weeks, maybe one day I'll get some payback.
Yeah, I really hope so, man.
Maybe turn the tables on somebody eventually. You never know.
And you've got like you're saying, maybe next time in an environment where you're more suited.
I'm just waiting for my first class here. Probably within the next couple of days, I'm jumping in with my boy. I'm gonna start grappling again. Yeah.
It's done you good in that respect. It just gives you a kickstart, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wake you up a little bit. It's interesting for me was you go head towards the Levan match. The focus thing, the singular focus, where's the line? But it's a project, isn't it? You got to blinkers on, knock the project over, and then
I think even still, during my building of my base, what I've noticed, and this, I mean, it's always new. You're always learning as you progress in your career. Like what you learn as a young athlete, it changes. And your attributes change, so you have to keep evolving. And I never had an issue with my endurance, with my heart, with my blood pressure, with any of these things. But when I'm trying to get 300 pounds, more than 300 pounds, like absolutely my cardiovascular health is a concern. I need to make sure that my heart and my circulation stays good, to carry me through not just through the match, but through the training. Like So I think me doing a little bit of BJJ for the beginning, I think will probably do me good. And then as the match draws closer, I'll probably taper off and then come back to it again after the match. I mean, that's my plan, you know.
Fantastic. It sounds like a good one. Like you say, it's good to be near something that you'd fallen away from and you got so much enjoyment out of, and you had genuine ability at. So, you know, rediscover things a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Exciting time, mate. It's all happening.
Big weekend, Neil. Hey, I'm super pumped about it. I'll put all the links down below here so everybody can, tune in and watch. Is it going to be on your channel?
Yes. Yeah, everything's going to be on my channel, guys. So, it's all going to be on Supernatural Strength channel. We've got a lot of stuff coming out from that event as well. I'll have multiple angles on the matches. We've got the live that's scheduled there. We've got a channel that's been set up specifically. It'll be out before Christmas, which is going to give an entirely different look to arm wrestling. We're going a different route. I spoke about it for those people who sort of follow what I have a concept that I want to at least once realize. I've got a very talented young man coming into the fold that's working on that with me. He's great at what he does, and I think he can reflect arm wrestling in a different way, a more entertaining way, a more universally appealing way. It's going to be character driven, and I think people will really enjoy it. We're obviously going to keep that pure sport element there, and there's plans afoot for 2022. Obviously, I'm hoping that the WAL comes back. I still want to very much be, and I'm still very much in that camp. Arm Wars is back. Arm Wars is alive. Oh, and we got some exciting plans, exciting concepts for people. A lot of people had said to me before, how do I get into Arm Wars? Opportunities will come for you guys to create your own brand, to manufacture your own brand. Your character shows what you've got. It's about the matches. And some exciting times ahead. I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Incredible. Hey, well, Neil, let me be the guy on behalf of the arm wrestling community to thank you for everything that you do for all of us, and wish you the best of luck in your return again, bringing us the Arm Wars series, and good luck on the first show back again.
Thanks, brother. Thank you very much.